Okay, it's been a couple weeks and I've been wanting to get this review out. This is for the Microtech Ultratech Zombie Tech Edition with the nice blood splatter pattern on it. It looks very cool. One of the things that I'm going to bring up is in terms of the drawbacks. I just experienced it with this particular knife. It's entirely possible that this is maybe a drawback of all out the fronts, basically automatics. And that has to do with the fact that when you use this for 2 straight months as your EDC, or roughly, yeah, in fact, it was over 2 months. Um, One of the things that can happen is as you're opening packages that have adhesive to on them, the adhesive can actually bind, get on the sides and cause this to bind. So I'll show you. So it doesn't basically when I release the spring and push it out there, or I should say, build up the spring tension and release it. It doesn't lock up at present. It was worse at different times, and then sometimes, yeah. In fact, look, that's a good example of where, likewise, on the return, it won't return. So that's definitely one of the cons of this knife. And unfortunately, you just got to utilize gravity, and then goes back. But you'll notice that, okay, this time it did lock. Oh, yeah, that time it didn't. So, or go back. And so what Microtech's solution is REM oil. And that's why I've been waiting for this. Finally got some of this in the mail. Remington REM oil. It's a firearm lubricant. And I'm going to go ahead and take some of this to the garage. This is what Microtech recommends for the only maintenance that you ever need to do on this, of course, because they have the proprietary. This is an older Ultratech. It has the proprietary kind of triangular alien-looking bolts in there, or nuts. So, yeah, in fact, there it is. So that's a good example of where I'm going to go ahead and take that out, and then we'll go ahead and start this review one last time. And we'll come back. What's up, YouTubers? Today we're going to talk about the Microtech Ultratech Out the Front Automatic. This is specifically a Gen 2. The new Gen 3s have new features, capabilities, and so forth, but they are both still double action. A double action basically means that you have to build the spring tension up, and then the trigger releases, and then it locks, and then likewise you have to build the tension going back, and it unlocks. The safe thing about the double actions is that they are not going to penetrate. I mean, they may penetrate your skin, let me rephrase that, but they're not going to puncture all the way through. The old Italian, whatever you call that, the old Italian movies or whatever that would show somebody hold this up to a human being and watch it go through. No, it's going to basically just puncture it and leave you a little bit of a wound there. Yeah, you can see that. So, and then it basically, when that happens, it releases and it's not locked. So it's not like it's locked in. Single action, a little bit different. You actually build up the spring pressure in it. You release it. Yeah, it's going to have some danger in there. So let's jump into this. This knife has a 3.35-inch blade of M390 super steel. In typical Microtech fashion, though, it basically, they utilize whatever high-end steel at the time. It doesn't even say it on the blade. This particular one, the current ones I think are actually coming in Magna Cut. So, you got that. It weighs 3.5 ounces. I'm going to get this out. And it priced at $330 for this edition. You'll notice that there's some oil on there. You probably already saw that from the opening. One of the cons on this one. This particular knife is a drop point, but they do sell these in a Tonto and a dagger blade. We'll go ahead and bring out a dagger real quick. There's going to be one of your daggers. That's an axial knives. So yeah, it also does have a very functional and capable tungsten carbide glass breaker. Worked well. It did not need to know if the glass was annealed or tempered. It just broke it. We'll talk about that in one of the positives. Let's go ahead and talk about some comparisons at this point in time. Oh, and this is the Zombie Tech edition. So yeah, it's got the blood splatter pattern. Yeah, for whatever that's worth. All right, the first one that I really think is in that realm is the Hogue Counter-Strike. This knife weighs 2.8 ounces and priced at $280. It's in 20 CV steel. The Kershaw Livewire is definitely in that range. That particular knife weighs 3.1 ounces. It's full aluminum. Oh, the Hogue Counterstrike is aluminum, but it has a G10 cover kind of on the front of it. The Kershaw Livewire is $240 and made in Magna-Cut steel. We'll go ahead and put those away. Definitely two comparables, I think, in the range of this knife. The Axial Gear Shift. This is a full aluminum one. It weighed 3.7 ounces and priced at $270. And what I consider still in my book kind of the king cheese of all these is the Guardian Tactical Recon 035. This one weighed 3.7 ounces. Oh, the gear shift was 3.7 ounces as well, priced at $270, 20 CV steel. And the Guardian Tactical Recon 035, 3.7 ounces. This particular one is an LMAX, but they're actually kind of making theirs now in Magna-Cut as well. You know, whatever the current new sexy super steel of the day is. And this one is $300. So they're all very price similar. When you're talking about kind of these 3¼ inch, you know, out the front blades, I think really it really comes down to what features do you like between them. They're all excellent. I really, I'll be doing reviews on all of them eventually. I just happened to carry this one for a couple months, and that's what we're on now. Let's go ahead and talk about the pros of this knife. The pros definitely are that this is probably one of the safest deploying knives that you can carry on you. There's no way from a deploying position, unless you're an idiot and you have your hand in front, or you deploy it like this, you know, unless you're really stupid, there's no way you can really hurt yourself. I mean, again, if you hold it up to something, yeah, you're going to pierce. Is it going to cause a huge laceration? No. But yeah, so one-handed deployment, very good thing. And really that goes for kind of OTFs in general. This one did particularly well, I thought. It's compact size. The only one that was even close to this one really is the Hogue Counterstrike. All those others are much, much wider, just much more big carry profile in them. This one has a really good carry profile, so I prefer that. You know, for this particular blade, I love that about the Ultratech. Excellent. This knife was tougher than tough. How many 3.5 ounce knives can reliably break glass? And it took several hits on there. And it didn't complain at all. You know, it scratched up the aluminum that was holding in the tungsten carbide, but it did an excellent job. Super tough. This thing went straight through, you know, pallet board. Not a problem. I've seen people hammer these in, literally get a hammer and pound it through wood. So, yeah. Microtech, Ultratech, very tough. The heat treat was great. Honestly, I just had to strap this a few times. It strapped up really nice. Really good edge retention. Didn't take any kind of chips or anything on there on the edge of the blade. A little bit thick blade stock, you know, but not too bad. Went through boxes and other things just fine. I already talked about the glass breaker and the solid action. Let me get a pair of gloves here. Sorry. I'm going to take a moment here, throw on a pair of gloves. One thing about this is it's kind of in the cons, but as a use with gloves, having these very sharp steps right here is a pro. So in gloves, this is definitely my preferred OTF to use. It's fantastic because those steppings are very sharp, and they grip very well on gloves. So yeah, this is as far as a quote-unquote hard-use knife would be. Yeah, this little tiny thing is in that realm because of the use in gloves. What I would say is, let's jump into some of the cons of this. There's really no way to open this knife quietly. I mean, it's just very loud. It's very satisfying if you're looking for that. But even for other automatic knives, so I'm going to show a couple examples of, this is the Microtech LUDT. If you're in a situation where you needed to open this one quietly, you can. Just basically put your hand over the side, and you could open that very quietly. You know, and even you can kind of put it away quietly, holding up that button. So, and out the side definitely can be done. Here's one more. This is the Microtech Stitch. Definitely can do it quietly. So you notice that. That's just kind of a feature of out the front versus out the side. You can do that. Going back to actually I forgot one of the pros of this is that and we talked a little bit about it, is the one-handed use of this. And that goes for the return. On certain automatic out the sides, you can walk it back. I'll try to do this. It's not the safest thing to do, but you can do it one-handed. But you get something like the Stitch, there's no way you can safely do this. I can do it, but I can tell you that's not safe at all. So that's definitely one thing where these are much safer, I do believe, than out the sides. The stepping on the trigger we talked about as a pro, but everything comes with a series of trade-offs. It took me 3 years to finally review this one because I finally got it to where it was comfortable enough. It's still just too sharp for a bare hand. When you got to use it, 1 to 3 times a day, no problem. It doesn't really hurt doing that. But if you are just sitting there and you're thinking like fidgeting, there's no way you're going to do that, 20 times. It literally starts to dig in and form a pattern on your thumb, and it just hurts. Just no way around it. Whereas like with the Guardian Tactical, you could just sit here and do this 100 times, and it's never sore at all. And even the Axial Gear was a little bit better. In fact, this is probably the bottom of the pack in terms of just a little bit raw on your hands. The last thing really is of the cons is it does use this proprietary hardware. It's kind of these little triangular ones. And you know what? The next generation, the Gen 3s of the Ultratech, I think are doing away with that, and they're going to regular Torx, or they might even be like hex or whatever, Allen wrenches. But so that part goes away. You know what? The only maintenance that they said to do, I sprayed the rem oil and it worked. It did restore it. It basically dissolved all of the adhesive that had gotten on here, cleared out the dust or whatever, and lubricated it nicely. Made for a nice, dirty, sloppy, dirty knife. Can I get some light on there? There you go. Yeah, you can see that. So I got to keep wiping that off a little bit. But overall, I would really say this knife earns its reputation as a reliable OTF leader. Truly in its class. It's priced similar to those other ones, $330 versus those others go from $240 to $300. You're pretty much within 10% in that price class. I would recommend, however, that you get one of the newer Gen 3s, just because if you're in that situation where you do need to disassemble it, it's just probably the preferred thing. This one is moving on, not permanently, but just on for use for a while by the Swinging Axe. You should follow him. I'll go ahead and put it's at Swinging Axe. I'll flash it on the screen or put it in the description. On Instagram, does lots of amazing shots, sunset, skiing, all sorts of cool things in the cold state of Alaska. And so, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and send this his way. Hope this review was interesting, if not useful, and I appreciate the like and subscribe. Have a great day.